Now let's talk about Myanmar. The junta is losing ground to rebel groups. Fighting has been going on for weeks now, and India is trying to contain the crisis. Yesterday, a delegation from Myanmar was in New Delhi. They met with Indian diplomats, and New Delhi had one message for them: return to democracy. The statement said, and I'm quoting, "The Indian side reiterated its support to Myanmar for a transition towards a federal democracy." How should this be interpreted? Well, the wording is fairly straightforward. India wants democracy to return to Myanmar. But this statement is also a subtle acknowledgement. New Delhi appears to be recalibrating. You see, 2 years back, there was a coup in Myanmar. The elected leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, lost power. The West slammed and sanctioned the generals, but India did not. India showed patience, perhaps hoping that the generals would restore democracy. Also remember, India has a long border with Myanmar. It also has major strategic investments in Myanmar. So New Delhi tried to make the best of a bad situation. And that meant engaging with the coup leaders. But now there seems to be a shift. The junta is losing control of military bases and with them, their authority to govern. So India is preparing for yet another change, potentially a future without these generals. And it is quite likely. The rebels are growing stronger. Let me give you a recent assessment. As of the 4th of December, the rebels control more than 200 military bases, plus large numbers of weapons. And beyond military assets, they also control multiple highways, roads, and trade routes. This list includes a town called Ho. It is near China's Yunnan province, and it's an important trade checkpoint. Let me show you why. From April to September this year, Myanmar sent goods worth $1.8 billion to China. These goods were moved through the land borders, and more than 25% of them went through this one checkpoint, Ho. So the losses for the junta are wide-ranging. The impact of this offensive is being felt not just on the military, but also on Myanmar's economy. Plus, the generals face a revolt in their ranks. Soldiers are giving up arms, even joining the rebels. And this is a sign of impending disaster. For any military regime, manpower is critical. They need a strong fighting force. It legitimizes the authority of the generals. It enables them to enforce their decisions, and it helps them keep power. But Myanmar's military is rotting from within, and this decline started long ago, well before the rebel offensive. In the month of May, an assessment exposed the rot. Over the course of several months, Myanmar's military had lost some 21,000 service members. 21,000 had left. And 3 reasons were given behind these losses: killed in action, desertions, or defections. In recent weeks, the losses have increased. The rebel forces have released many videos. They show soldiers from Myanmar's military surrendering. Now, we don't have a confirmed number, but reports say hundreds of soldiers have switched sides. Some even tried to cross into India. Since the beginning of this offensive, India has sent back more than 70 soldiers of the Myanmar army. They entered India after rebels took over their posts. So the generals are in a tough spot, losing control over bases, over trade routes, and over troops. Perhaps the reason why they want to negotiate now. The junta chief has made an outreach calling for a political solution. But the rebels may not agree. They have the upper hand at this point, and they will not give up their gains so easily. Where does all of this leave India? With a 1,600-kilometer-long border with Myanmar, the risk of the conflict spilling over, and uncertainty over Indian investments, like the Kaladan Transport Project. It connects India's northeast to Myanmar. And the India-Myanmar-Thailand Highway. India gives a lot of development assistance to this country. The value of these projects is almost $2 billion. And out of this, $1.25 billion is in the form of grants. To unlock the full potential of these projects, India needs stability in Myanmar. But the current situation is the opposite of stable. And after yesterday's events, one thing is quite clear: New Delhi will not be a passive observer.